Prime Video's latest procedural makes Reacher look like The Wire. Prime Video has a new procedural crime drama that begins with a promising opening scene and a surprising cameo by Milo Ventimiglia, who's promptly killed within the first few minutes of episode 1. Unfortunately, it doesn't take long for the series to make Reacher look like The Wire. Countdown stars Jensen Ackles as lapped detective Mark Mayer Chum, who is assigned to a covert federal task force following the murder of Ventimiglia's character, Homeland Security Officer Robert Darden. Comprised of individuals from various law enforcement agencies, the task force's main objective is to track down Darden's killer. However, they soon discover a much darker conspiracy at play that threatens the entire city of Los Angeles and the millions of people who live there. Despite its intriguing premise and fairly solid cast, Countdown doesn't quite achieve that must-watch status audiences want. When the world is already saturated with so many shows and movies, it's hard to justify spending your time on anything remotely subpar. That being said, I'll watch anything with Jensen Ackles. Unfortunately, his newest series just isn't something I'm dying to see every week. I'd rather watch The Boys or reruns of Supernatural if I'm being honest. Without Ackles, I would have already skipped Countdown altogether. There are certainly moments when the show is entertaining, but it's the kind of series you can watch while also doom-scrolling TikTok. That isn't necessarily bad, but it's sort of damning it with faint praise. Despite its efforts, the series lacks depth and feels more like something you'd see on network television rather than Prime Video. Plus, the series tries too hard to be cool, which makes something as kitschy and over-the-top as Reacher feel sophisticated. As much as Countdown tries, it doesn't have much depth. It all feels super cheesy. Countdown certainly strives for depth but ultimately falls short. The acting in the series isn't the problem. Rather, it's the writing. Unfortunately, the show feels like it was written by someone who doesn't know anything about actual police procedures but somehow loves cop shows. There are so many quippy one-liners to go around that it's difficult to take the majority of the characters' conversations seriously. Plus, every pep talk with the task force really hammers down on the idea that what they are doing is incredibly epic, which made me want to roll my eyes. Those moments are fine to have, but they are inevitably super cheesy and take away from whatever drama the show strives to achieve. When every bit of dialogue is a serious talk with nothing but witty responses that clearly wouldn't be said in regular conversation, everything stays surface level. The show tries too hard to be serious, but then undercuts its serious moments with nonsensical dialogue. As such, it's much easier to detach from the high-stakes drama Countdown tries to create. When viewers then consider all the gut instincts littered throughout the show that always manage to pay off, no matter how ridiculous the hunch might seem, the procedural cop drama turns into a magic show. Those on the task force are meant to be some of the best, and that makes sense for such a series, but their hunches feel forced, which makes them hard to believe. Instinct and intuition while on the job are one thing, but blatantly diving in headfirst based on a hunch only highlights the surface-level stakes of the series. Countdown might be on Prime Video, but it feels like network television. That's not inherently bad, but it's definitely a different vibe. One of the most appealing aspects of streaming services is their ability to create shows however they choose. They aren't beholden to FCC standards, which means viewers are able to watch something arguably more authentic than what they'd see on network television. Unfortunately, Countdown feels more like a network crime drama than a Prime Video series. That isn't to say such shows are inherently bad, they just have a different vibe that's meant to have a much broader appeal. Oftentimes, cop dramas on ABC, NBC, or CBS are heavily polished and clean-cut. They don't have the kind of grit or gore viewers might see with streaming. Those qualities don't necessarily make a series good, but they certainly allow for a level of authenticity and thrills that network shows don't possess, at least not in the same way. With a network cop series, every piece of evidence garners a new lead, victims are always saved in the nick of time, and everyone is somehow cool and always put together despite the long hours. Sadly, Countdown follows the blueprint of a network crime drama instead of taking a page out of Reacher's book or simply charting its own path to follow. If a procedural cop series is going to be on Prime Video, there's an expectation it'll be something adjacent to Reacher or even Jack Ryan. However, that's simply not the case here. Countdown feels like a network series for all the wrong reasons. Countdown tries too hard to be cool. As much as Countdown might want to be like Reacher, it simply can't measure up because it's trying too hard to be cool. Its premise is a serious one, but every time the task force is in pursuit of a potential suspect, the quippy rock music blasting over the scene denotes a different tone. There's no heart-pounding thrills because there's no real tension. That isn't to say Reacher doesn't have its deliberately cool moments. However, that show knows what it's doing and leans into that well with some tongue-in-cheek humor and plenty of self-awareness. Unfortunately, Countdown thinks it's Reacher when it's really something like CSI or Criminal Minds. Don't get me wrong, those shows entertain plenty of people, and every show has its place. However, when a Prime Video series resembles something on network television in all the wrong ways, it's disappointing to say the least. New episodes of Countdown premiere every Wednesday, and the Season 1 finale arrives on September 3, 2025. Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button for more update news.